Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Okay, it's a beautiful day today. It's Friday, and a lot of people are, as I'm sure, I trust that a lot of people are actually excited about today. It's Friday, the weekend is upon us, and you get to rest, you get to distress yourself, you get to hang out with your family, friends, and loved ones. You know, people you haven't seen all through the week, or you haven't seen in a very long time. There's some people that, you know, they have to, due to traffic in Lagos and whatnot, they have to stay one part of Lagos with friends, and then they go home for the weekend to be with their family. So it's a beautiful day today, and I'm sure that we're all looking forward to having an awesome weekend. It is Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos, and this is right now the time is 7:43 a.m. We apologize for starting the show a bit late, but it's time for trends in the papers, and this is the part where we get to look through the trending stories from the papers this every morning, and that's from 7:40 a.m. to 8:30, Mondays through Fridays. All right, so I have my papers here with me: The Guardian, The Punch, Vanguard, and The Nation newspaper. All right, and they're all here, so let's look through what are the trending stories that we have. Okay, so the major headline from The Guardian newspaper. Oh, apologies, my name is Omobola Sandra. Yes, okay. All right, what are the major trending stories we have from The Guardian newspaper? The major headline from Guardian, that's 65,699 PVCs burnt. Fear heightens after twin attacks on INEC offices. And we have riders to that. INEC summons emergency security meeting today. Ogun Commissioner of Police, INEC offices need increased security. PDP, APC condemn attacks. Gaya, insecurity won't affect election and census. And we also have here, elections can't hold amid insecurity. Secure Nigeria now, Bishop tells federal government. We also have here, PDP restates commitment to violence-free poll despite attack on its rallies. And also, finally, we have election results cannot be influenced with beavers. INEC retreats. All right, so what we have from this report is that a resurgence of arson outbreak targeted at public institutions, especially those critical to successful conduct of the 2023 general elections, yesterday raised fears over a volatile electioneering season as the country begins its countdown to the poll. So what we have is that yesterday there were attacks, actually arson attacks, fire attacks on the offices, INEC offices in Osun and Ogun states. And although there have been some summons and for emergency security meeting, but there is apprehension in the air as regards whether or not the elections are actually going to be secured. Although the National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, said that there is a meeting that's ongoing, and the meeting was triggered by the attacks on the Commission's headquarters in Ogun State and Osun. So what he said is the work for Ogun, that's Dr. Mi Ijalaye, reported that our office, that's INEC office in Abeokuta South Council, was attacked and set ablaze. This is actually a serious issue, and INEC is looking deep into it, and there is still that apprehension. People are, you know, a little bit, you know, anxious as regards if this is not going to, you know, be projected into the elections proper. All right, even as we count down to the elections. So we can get more details on page 6, and INEC has summoned an emergency security meeting today. We'll see what exactly the result of that is going to be. All right, meanwhile, the chairman's Senate Committee on INEC, Senator Kabir Gaya, has given assurance that the insecurity ravaging the country will not affect the conduct of the general elections and also the forthcoming census. Remember that the federal government has said that there's going to be a census next year, and he said this while speaking with newsmen, of course, but hopefully things would actually be sorted out. Let's not forget that in recent times, the police actually, took in some security outfits as regards the elections, ammunitions, and more outfits for them, more props, more equipment for them, to ensure that they are well prepared as we count down to the elections proper. That's the major headline from The Guardian. That's as regards the attack on INEC offices, and more details on page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. All right, we also still have here, still on The Guardian newspaper, with trillions lost to failed and collapsed buildings, stakeholders tread slippery road to recovery. All right, yes, that's what we have here, and you can get more details on pages 4 and 5 of The Guardian newspaper. Moving on now, we also have United Nations, terrorism intensifying across Africa, exploiting instability and conflict. And that is on page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. Let's see what the report actually has to say as regards that particular story. Okay, what we have here, they actually write us to that. US UK terror alert, arrested suspects will be prosecuted, says IGP. Lagos Ibadan expressway, police deploy tactical teams over kidnapping. Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò appeals to southwest governors to allow OPC, Amotekun, others flush terrorists out of forests. All right. So with the growing spate of terrorism across Africa as a whole, it's a serious major threat to international space and security. So the United Nations said yesterday, via the Deputy UN Chief Amina Mohammed, speaking on behalf of the Secretary General Antonio Guterres, said terrorists and violent extremists, including Daesh, Al-Qaeda, and their affiliates, have exploited instability and conflict to increase their activities and intensify attacks across the continent. There is a long read, and responding to that, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khali Baba, confirmed the arrest of suspects connected to terror plan in Abuja, saying that security agencies will prosecute the culprits. And he disclosed this during the weekly ministerial briefing coordinated by the presidential communication team at the Villa in Abuja. And he also confirmed the arrests of some suspected terrorists and plans by authorities to have them prosecuted. More details as said earlier on page 6, but also this call by or the appeal by the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò to southwest governors to actually allow OPC, Amotekun, others flush terrorists out of the forest. That's following the recent spate of kidnappings, especially on the Lagos Ibadan expressway. That's also actually being looked at. Okay, stay with us. You're listening to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. We're looking through the Guardian newspaper, and we will be right back.
To your destination.
On mainland 98.3 FM. We're still going through the Guardian newspaper, and what we have still on the Guardian again: aviation workers fault concession, planned demolition of FAN and NAMA offices. Let me put it that way. All right, and that's on page 3. And what we have is that aviation workers unions yesterday reiterated their displeasure against the federal government's plan to concession 4 major international airports, coupled with a new agenda to demolish aviation agencies' offices. So the workers, under the aegis of National Union of Air Transport Employees, Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, and the Association of Nigeria Aviation Professionals, said details of the concession plan have proved it is self-serving and anti-Nigeria. The coalition at a peaceful rally called on the Federal Executive Council to suspend the aviation roadmap plan and conduct forensic investigation of actions so far taken by Aviation Minister Hadi Sirika. Okay, because recently the government announced preferred and reserved bidders for the concession of Lagos, Abuja and Kano airports. So for Lagos, the minister also disclosed that the former headquarters of Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, and Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, and Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NAMA offices would be demolished to pave way for a proposed airport city. So that's where this particular, fault is, the call or appeal by the aviation workers is coming from. So the unions have called on the Federal Executive Council to halt further approvals on the concession program and indeed any other aviation roadmap projects pending a comprehensive forensic audit of the projects undertaken. Stay with me. Still trends in the papers on mainland 98.3 FM. Out back end. It is still mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos, and it still trends in the papers. We're looking through the trending stories on the front pages of our dailies, all right, and this morning it has been quite an interesting one. We'll be looking through the Vanguard. We'll be looking through Vanguard newspaper, okay, and we've actually discussed a whole lot, but let's keep going on. We're still on the Vanguard newspaper, sorry, Guardian, apologies. We're still on the Guardian newspaper, and we just finished talking about the aviation workers for concession, the planned demolition of Nama offices. More details on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Still on the Guardian, be objective in your reporting, Uzodimma urges editors. Be objective in your reporting, Uzodimma urges editors, and that is on page 4 of Guardian newspaper. And what we have here is that the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodimma, has urged editors of various media houses in the country to be objective in discharging their gatekeeping duties. And Uzodimma gave the advice that during the opening ceremony of the 18th All Nigeria Editors Conference 2022 that was holding at Owerri in Imo State. He decried that what he regarded as bad reports against his administration and Imo State, adding that it will be better to have reports based on national interest than personal interest, which undermine national development. Okay, and he's saying that Imo is a victim of bad press. Well, that is a statement, reports coming from the Imo State Governor to reporters. That's on page 24 of the Guardian newspaper. My name still remains Omobola Sandra, and I have with me now, joining me via the phone line, Opeyemi Akinyode. Good morning, Ope.
Sandra, good morning. Good morning, Lagos. Thank you for having me on the show this morning.
Okay, thank you very much for joining in. Okay, so we're on Guardian newspaper, actually looking through the trending stories on the front pages of our papers. So as going further now, we have here Kogi targets 591 billion naira yearly IGR, deepens ties with China, and that is on the report is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. So what we have is that the Kogi State government and China sets the stage for expansion of business relations as Kogi State targets a 591 billion naira yearly IGR in the future. Okay, and well, as it is now, on how Kogi intends achieving that particular one, the special advisor on economy, finance and investment to the governor said we're actually getting less than 10% of what we should get from the resources that we have. So that particular amount that's saying is the size of the IGR yearly, if they're able to put all the building blocks together. So the building blocks are what you have just seen, which is of course the Chinese, that's China, has invited them and they are willing to invest in various sectors of our economy. All right, Opeyemi, do you have any analysis on that particular alliance that's going to be happening between Kogi State government and China as regards funding the as regards funding, or generating revenue for the state?
Well, Abuja's money is drying up. There's no money in Abuja again. So it's time the government start looking inward. Otherwise, Kogi State has been known as a state that deals badly when it comes to payment of salaries. I recall there was a time I had the former chief press secretary of the Kogi State government, the current governor, actually, I had been on one of our shows, and we're talking about payment of salary, and one of the things I figured out from that conversation I will have. So the state needs to look inward now. Whatever you are going to collect in Abuja is going to continue to do. Gone are those days where states would get 6 billion, 7 billion from Abuja every month as allocation, and then they bring it back. They use about 65 or 70% of it to pay salaries of civil servants. There were times where Kogi State were paying 3,500 naira or so as monthly salary. I recall at some point also, one of the senior special advisors to the current governor came out to say, I think it was build up to Yaya Bello's second term election, And then, one of these media aides came out and said, no. We're not owing 13 months salary, we're owing only 11 months. I mean, just imagine that conversation. So, are you there, Sandra?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, so I think states are beginning to realize that whatever is coming from Abuja would not sustain their own state. And that's what we always clamor for. Look inward. The way they've been blessed in this country, every single